Creepypastas. Creepypastas. Something that was once sacred, something that was actually scary, something that could get someone so famous on YouTube. But now, the flame has sort of died down a little bit. Now, the origins of creepypastas isn't exactly as pinpoint as some people think. Basically, creepypastas sort of started out as copypastas. Copypasta is basically a story, urban legend, or a phrase that's copy and pasted onto other sites, or email, or message boards. Some of these pastas would be funny, disturbing, or just plain weird. These have existed since the beginning of time, but they never really had a website or a fan base. The earliest known use of creepypasta was on the X forums on 4chan. The initial popularity of creepypasta is also hard to pinpoint since no one really knows when the first creepypasta reading was posted, but people do know that one of the most popular readers, named Mr. Creepypasta, uploaded his first creepypasta reading on January 9th, 2011.
During my childhood, my family was like a drop of water in a vast river. Now, the day after my 5th birthday, attended by my parents alone,
And this, it was the start of something fantastic. The trend of creepypastas quickly grew in 2013, with many content creators reading and even creating their own pastas.
Freaked me out, to be honest, but it wasn't an on-screen long though.
Around the time I was 17, I had a revelation.
His desk was next to the window, and he turned and looked to the grass outside.
I'm trying to save up for a vacation, so I really needed the money.
The smiley face would then scream loudly.
Now, what were these popular creepypastas during that time? Basic idea for SMILE.DOG is a classic chain mail story. Spread the word, or else misfortune will fall upon you. The SMILE.DOG myth basically states that there is a picture out there that contains a husky dog with human teeth smiling, and a bloody hand in the background. You'll usually receive this in your email or message board, or it's supposed to be sent by someone else to, spread the word. But what if you don't spread it? Well, all I can say to you is, sweet dreams. The Russian sleep experiment retells the events of, a Russian experiment. Basically, its subjects were given a gas that made them stay awake no matter what. But there was a catch. They became addicted to the gas, and soon, they didn't want to go to sleep, even go to the point of mutilating themselves to keep themselves from sleeping. No one knows exactly why they're straying away from sleep. The creepy part about this isn't the story itself, but it's the fact that it took place in Soviet Russia, where they did in fact cover up a lot of secrets. So who knows? The story may be true. The rake is actually pretty simple. It details a humanoid creature known as the rake that has claws, sharp teeth, and walks on all fours. Pretty simple, right? The thing about it is that no one knows where it came from. Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killer is a serial killer. Simple as that. But here's one thing. His face. He was mutilated, beaten, and broke as a result. And they say that he's still at large today. Ben Drowned is about a haunted N64 card. Now that may seem fucking stupid until you find that the author is dragged through hell, whether in reality or the game world itself. Okay, I don't even need to explain who the fuck this guy is. Everyone knows about him and his story as well. He first originated on a scary picture contest forum type shit. But that's not the only details in the case. The thing that makes him really creepy is that there are actually several urban legends detailing a creature similar to SLENDERMAN in history. So that just begs more questions. With all these fantastic stories, how did it all end up so blasted and confused? How did they end up obscure again? Well, with all good things, it started out with the fan base. They were of course fanatical and crazy, no regard for anything, making fan art that just didn't correlate with what the fucking story tried to convey. You get a completely terrifying picture of Jeff the Killer, and then you get this shit.
What the ever-loving fuck?
But I like to think it wasn't until the fan stories came out stuff really got messed up. Not to say that there weren't original ideas or stories that were passed around that weren't really bad per se, but most were, you know, they weren't that good. But this perfectly sums up the next point that I'm going to talk about. Shitpastas. Shitty shitpastas. Now, you may be wondering, what the fuck is even a shitpasta? Basically, it's a bad creepypasta. Not only bad, but so bad that it comes off as more of a fucking parody of the genre. Now, these stories just don't go by shitpastas. They go by crappy pastas, crappy creepypastas, or simply just bad creepypastas.
Mario did not like drinking, so he usually took hits of acid to...
What? Talking about going to the toilet. She had beautiful eyes with brunette hair. How did she see out of them?
He grabbed me by the hair and dragged me into a room and strapped me to a bed.
So, presumably next it's going to go on about how she, her face got infected.
Now, the question is, what does this have to do with creepypastas? How were the bad stories affecting the good ones? Well, it was because the majority of creepypastas were usually posted on one website called Creepypasta Wiki. Now, there are multiple websites, but the big player was Creepypasta Wiki. Now, this basically gave any jackoff on the street the ability to write their own spooky story and post on the wiki. So, you bet your ass that the site was filled with these god-awful stories. There was a dark time in the wiki's history when these terrible stories did in fact coexist with good stories on the site, and it kind of became annoying. Now, to weed out these shitpastas, the admins applied some really strict guidelines into what actually makes a creepypasta and how you should actually write your creepypasta. And this obviously resulted in a lot of classics being moved to the Trollpasta wiki, such as Sonic.exe, Jeff the Killer, you know, some others like that. Eventually, due to the fan art that should be considered human rights violations and the shitty stories that sort of took over a while, creepypastas started to really decline. It's not like people didn't respect them or didn't like them, people just weren't really attracted to them anymore. Until
number 15, Burger King foot lettuce.
On December 25th of 2014, Top 15s uploaded their first video, which were retellings of supposedly true scary stories.
Go anywhere. Number 11. I lived in a small college town and my apartment complex was walking distance from the bar downtown area.
Now, what does that have to do with creepypastas? Well, simply put, because it sort of changed where a creepypasta should be. The way these stories are structured are sort of creepier than the average pasta, not having to worry about actually telling these stories in an orthodox way. In reality, no one really knows why creepypastas fell out of popularity. There was no single event or anything super serious that brought them down. It was just a trend that came and went. Now, it's not to say that creepypastas aren't just forgotten, because they definitely aren't. Even go to the point where a movie is being made about one of the most popular creatures in creepypasta history. So even though creepypastas aren't popular anymore, they have left an impact on internet culture that won't be forgotten anytime soon. So that is all, my friends. Tune in next time, probably 3 weeks from now, for a new video.